guys, this is your host Katie Labs with Dark Humors of IT. So last week we left off with a little saying, my attitude isn't the problem, it's in beta. So last week we talked about business process management, improvement, what it is and why it should be important to you. I had mentioned a couple of different times in the episode just how important that tool or methodology would be in coming episodes. So for this week, we're going to talk about knowing when it's time to retire your legacy software, the benefits, and decommissioning process. So is your business running on unsupportable software or hardware systems? Did you know that this is actually costing you more money to maintain than it is to replace or upgrade? This was said by Jim Hall, the founder and CEO of the IT Mentor Group. And I can resonate, finding it very, very accurate. I worked with a business that had a CMMS application that could only be ran on Windows XP, and the company was no longer in business and had not been for almost 20 years at that point. So when they decided that they should upgrade, they only had one working computer with XP on it, and the application was essentially a glorified Excel document that lacked the capabilities of exporting most of its important information. So the maintenance tech was writing all of his work down on paper, and then somebody else was manually entering all this information into the application. So anyhow, the moral of the story is that they paid over $17,000 for a brand new application, hardware, and that didn't even include the time that I spent manually manipulating the data to import into the brand new application that we had set up, and then setting up all those new workflows and training the users. So if you answered yes to the questions that I previously asked, or you can resonate with being chained to old hardware or software, then it might be time to consider the retirement of your application before it breaks or causes major disruption within the business. You're not alone if you can admit that a critical business application is being run on old hardware, or that the application is on the verge of a breakdown, or that the manufacturer is now obsolete. Just because your system has been fully depreciated doesn't mean that it's in your best interest to keep it. Often businesses think that it's okay that they've purchased software from a vendor. However, even a vendor retires old versions of their software, which could cost you thousands in either catch-up maintenance and fees, or cost to do an upgrade to the latest support version. So it's likely costing you thousands if you can resonate with these key factors. So information is hard to find. If you find yourself going to multiple places to compile information and you need and cannot house that information on a dashboard, then it's time to upgrade. Chances are that if you struggle to find key information, so are others, and you are all very likely to be missing out on the key information that will paint a relevant picture to what's going on in your business. So if your reporting is not intuitive, what other data are you missing? Simple changes are no longer simple. When the software is not customizable to meet the needs of your business, it is wasting time and resources for those who need to make changes within the software. Do not waste money on trying to change the platform you're working on and get something that fits the business and its needs. Your systems don't integrate. Integration is big in helping smooth out your processes and automating workflows. So you should not have to manually enter information from one system to the next, or pay thousands for a specialized consultant to do a custom integration that goes awry and needs updating or needs additions made. Staff cannot access it remotely. With the recent pandemic, I think we've learned that business resiliency and continuity has become the main topic of discussion. And one thing that was not thought through until disaster struck was that you need to use the application remotely. I've worked with a company where their software was not built to be able to handle working remotely, and it's monitoring security and alarm platforms. So very important when considering a new vendor or a new piece of software to also bring that up to the vendor, because maybe they didn't build their application with that capability, but also that you have that capability when you need it for your employees. So here are some valuable questions that you should address when considering the idea of upgrading or keeping your current system. 1, Is annual support less than the system replacement costs for both hardware and software? 2, if the current system support person were hit by a bus tomorrow, would you still be in business? 3, can you easily find people with the skills to maintain either your hardware or your software applications? 4, do you need custom integrations to connect to new applications and trading partners? 5, are you able to expeditiously handle increased volumes of data from new applications and trading partners? 6, are you able to identify data processing errors and resolve them quickly? 7, is the original vendor still in business and actively supporting your version of the system? A yes to any of these questions may indicate that you do not need to upgrade right now, but you will be or will need to in the near future. No's definitely indicate that an upgrade should be done. So here's some benefits of upgrading. Security. Relying on legacy applications and dated infrastructure increases your likelihood of a security incident. The older technology becomes more difficult to manage patching, updates, and general IT maintenance. Cost. It is actually more cost-effective to use newer technology. Initiatives and upgrades may seem like a large investment, but you receive your ROI much faster and it lowers your overall cost to maintain. Using outdated technologies with even outdated coding languages can get spendy real fast, and having to hire a pricey specialist consultant to fix your issues. Inefficiency and unpredictability. Most systems were at one time very efficient when they were constructed and implemented. With the rapid advance of technology, old systems put a damper on productivity and contribute to inefficient process flows. Inefficiency may be that it cannot handle many data tapes or retains latency from old customizations. Lack of insight and information. New software has the latest and greatest when it comes to reporting metrics, deep data insight, and supporting critical business decisions by providing data quickly. An example of this would be many old systems do not have error identification or resolution built into the program. With newer platforms, you're able to access real-time data and transaction views and receive notifications the minute an issue comes up, so that way you can quickly resolve it before it disrupts the business. So once you have come to figure out that your software has reached its peak and you would like to find something new, it can be a long and lengthy process towards the implementation of new software. Much more than I have time to talk through on today's episode, but next week I'll be talking more about the implementation and software lifecycle. So for our sake, we'll just say that you've decided that it's time to decommission your application after you've implemented a new piece of software. So what is it and what does that process look like? Application decommissioning is a process an organization uses to retire applications, supporting hardware and software included in the decommissioning process, while we keep the data and ensure that it's accessible to maintain business continuity. So here's some steps on decommissioning the application and why each step is important. 1, business analysis. 2, systems analysis. 3, data extraction. 4, data processing. 5, user access design. 6, user acceptance testing. 7, data transfer. 8, application retirement. Here are the common steps for decommissioning an application. 1 being business analysis. So this is identifying information such as what data needs to be retained, for how long, and how users will access and navigate the information, whether this be through a database, repository, or an integration with a new system. Systems analysis. This is the technical scope of the task, such as format, location, files, tables, etc., of the data that you're extracting. Any business rules that are set up are noted, so that way they can be applied later in the processing step. Data extraction. This is the process of exporting information out of the application. Data processing. This ensures any of the data that relied on underlying business logic to display can now be shown without the prior knowledge of the business logic being performed to display the info. User access design. This is the process of deciding which visual layout will be used to display the data. This could be a business application view that replicates the original system, a data view, or document views that are pre-formatted and cannot be processed further unless integrated with another application. User acceptance testing. This is to ensure that the transfer of your data was correct and that the desired format produces necessary results and outputs that may be needed in the future. Data transfer. After the testing has been completed, all of the application's data is housed in some desired format, whether this be a read-only format or with access being through integrations done to your new ERP system, WFM system, or any other form to mine the data to produce business intelligence. And application retirement. When all the data has been transferred over to the desired repository, the original application can officially be decommissioned or retired. This including any software or hardware as it applies to each application. So what are the benefits of decommissioning? There are 3 key benefits that decommissioning an application should deliver. One being direct savings from eliminating old software, hardware, and maintenance costs. 2, efficiency gains by delivering easier access to historical information. And 3, regulatory compliance through retention rules that manage the application's data securely throughout its life cycle. So that's all we have to talk about today in regards to retiring your old software and its hardware, and then the process of decommissioning your applications. Next week, I will be talking a little bit more about implementation of new software, the steps, benefits, and tips, and also a little bit more about the software life cycle. So as always, I like to leave you guys with another fun saying. I am not antisocial, I am just not user-friendly. So thank you guys again for tuning in this week. If you guys have some pain points or issues that you guys can better relate to or something that you're experiencing that you'd like me to talk about, please feel free to shoot me an email at darkhumorsofit@gmail.com and I will feature it in a future episode. Tune in more next week for software implementation. Till next time, guys. Thanks.